Okay, here we are. I always start with here we are, which is weird. But this is the Comedy's Best Kept Secret Tour podcast. I'm here with Quinn Patterson.
Hey,
Thank you for taking the time.
thank you for having me.
We've been all weekend at the Funnybone in Albany, which has been it's actually been a great weekend.
I think it has.
Some packed shows. I think it's a good lineup.
Absolutely.
Me, you, and
has
Rich
their own-
Voss.
Yep.
I think it gives the audience a lot to see because we're all doing different stuff. We're all doing our own thing. Very funny show. So what else is going on? So you're from Cleveland? I don't know anything. Give me your whole backstory.
I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. I've been doing comedy for about 12 years.
Yep.
I've done. I did 3 years of improvisational theater. I was with the Second City.
Oh no shit.
Yeah. it
Up
was
in
with-
Chicago or?
Well, it was actually they built a theater in Cleveland.
No shit.
Yeah. So I was there for. I did 2 years on the main stage. I did study in Cleveland, and we actually got to go to Chicago for a week, and I was understudy for Keegan. From Key and Peele?
Yeah.
Keegan, yeah.
Keegan Michael Key. No shit.
For a week.
Oh, shit. How was that?
It was great, man. The dude was fantastic,
Yeah.
very smart.
Yeah.
Made me feel like, why am I here
Right.
after seeing this guy?
Oh no shit. Well, that just
Yeah.
makes you want to work harder, though, no?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But it's just one of those situations where you're like, man, this dude. I remember when we actually got to go to the show and watch him perform, and I just couldn't take my eyes off of him. Man. He was just bigger than life, and I said, that guy right there, man, he's gonna do it.
He hadn't made it yet.
He hadn't, not with Mad TV
No
and all
shit.
the other things that he was doing.
Yeah.
Man.
No shit.
He was just phenomenal, man, and it was just a great pleasure to work under him for that week.
Yeah.
And he taught me a lot, man. And
Wow.
it was cool.
How
So
many has there been? Sorry to cut you off. Has there been other guys that you've had in your career where they were nobodies yet, and you were like, he's gonna be something?
I'd say Keegan was probably the biggest.
Yeah.
Yeah, the biggest.
That's
one
huge.
that-
That's funny. That's almost the premise of that Mike Birbiglia movie.
Yeah.
He was in that improv troupe, and they were like, he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it one day, and then he gets whatever the equivalent of like a
Absolutely.
Saturday Night Live. That's hilarious. You were like in that group. That's funny.
Yeah, I'm an alumni of the Second City.
Yeah,
man.
that's
It's
crazy.
crazy because I didn't know anything about Second City.
Yeah.
All I know is that I had a bunch of friends that was comics saying, "Hey, Second City's coming. Second City's
Yeah.
coming." And I'm
Freaking
thinking,
out.
like, what is Second City?
Yeah.
I
Sometimes
didn't-
you gotta get your Googles. You gotta catch up.
Man, I went and bought books and
Yeah.
started reading up
No
on this
shit.
stuff. And I actually saved enough money to be able to take classes.
Yeah.
Still not knowing what improv is about.
Right.
But I said, I'm going to take this money. I'm going to invest it in myself for something positive.
For sure.
'Cause I could have took that money and did anything.
Yeah.
And I started taking the classes. And I ended up getting with a core group that would elevate at the same time.
Yeah.
We would keep going to the next level. And we all said to ourselves, after we had formed that strong bond, that we're all going to audition when auditions come up. Because my thing was, I just wanted to complete it, get a certificate,
Yeah.
and say, hey,
Yeah.
I completed Second City.
Mhm.
But with us making that pact that we will all audition,
Yeah.
we did. And I actually got chosen for the
No
main
shit.
stage.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was
yeah.
unbelievable, man. And we
Wait.
hadn't
What happened to
even-
the rest of the crew?
a lot of them are still doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Some of them were stand-ups. Some of them were there's two of them that's in Chicago, still with the Second
No
City.
shit.
One of them is back home in Canada, Toronto. She's from Toronto, so she
Okay.
went back home. But yeah, it was a great time in my life. And then after that, that's when I decided, after my contract ended, I decided to go back into stand-up. And I felt like Second City served my purpose because I feel like I'm pretty quick on my feet now. I'm able to interact with the crowd with no hesitation, and so it was cool.
It
man.
just puts you I don't know, puts you mentally in like another box, right? So improv has become, over the years, especially stand-ups get kind of heated about improv, and they try to pin them against each other. It's gotten commodified in the last couple of years, where some of the places, some of the cities, they just want you to get the classes. They don't care what happens out of it. But improv at its purest and improv at its best is so funny, such rich humor. I went to Chicago, and I went to a place called Improv Olympic. It's over by Wrigley Field.
I know what you're talking
This is
about.
like I was like 20 years old,
Okay.
and I had been watching. This is stupid, but I'd been watching like Whose Line Is It Anyway stuff. I hadn't even decided that I wanted to do comedy yet, actually, because this is freshman year of college, and we go to the show, and I still remember like just jokes, just like one-off jokes that happen in that show that just filled that room. I mean, improv is really
it's the best because that's one of the art forms where the crowd tells you where they want you to go. Yeah. Because you're asking them for suggestions.
They give you the respect,
absolutely,
to pay attention and to be like, oh, he came up with this on his like with stand up. Even if you're riffing and you're messing with the crowd, I feel like a lot of times they don't really they think, oh, he wrote this, like it's, and there's like, I've talked to people that are like, stand up for me is weird because I know that he memorized that,
right? Which
is obviously,
and that's why I try to I don't do it all the time, but I try to pick somebody out just to mess with in a respectful way. But like our Friday night show, a lady was just blatantly texting, and I'm just like, come on, man. It's one thing if you're in the back of the room, but if you're right
up front,
because you're just saying basically, I don't know about this guy. And I'm like, well, give me a chance.
Or honestly, I think what it is now we're all conditioned, right, to sit there and we're watching TV, we're listening to the radio, somebody's talking to us, reading the paper, we're eating a TV dinner, and we're texting all at the same time, and we think our brain can do it. You know?
Right.
We're in the car, we're texting, we're watching.
That is true.
And
which is I feel is golden for us because I'm live. I can come at you. You know, not like I say, not in a disrespectful manner, but. I'm
gonna check back in with people now, like a little bit, because they don't realize. I've heard more and more comedians say to the audience, like, "Hey, this is I can see you and I can hear you. This is a live show. This is not your TV. So get involved and pay attention. I mean, the live element is the whole thing that we're going for as stand-ups. Like that's our whole. That's the drug. That's the.
Yes, sir.
That's the tap in the vein part. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's the live part. And being able to create a living organism of a show that night for those people.
Absolutely. Because that's what it's about. People ask me, what are you in this for? Is it the money? Is it the fame? When I was younger, absolutely. Yeah. Because I didn't know. I had no structure of what comedy was about. But then as you grow, man, it's about them people, man. Yeah. Because money can go quick. Yeah. But when you have people come out and say, hey, I'm glad you came because something tragic just happened in my life and I needed this for that moment. Man, when you get that, that's better than any amount of money, for me personally, any amount of money in the world. Yeah, and it feels so fucking good to make a room full of people have a good time. And you have that control. And even in whatever climate, and we're in a weird climate now politically, we're in a weird climate with people going head to head on issues and not listening to each other and not taking into consideration the other side, but we still get people in a room, doesn't matter where we are in the country. Absolutely. And we can make these motherfuckers laugh. Oh man, it's the greatest feeling.
It really is. Feeling. And you can't compare it. It's like, people always try to figure out what the thing of it is, and the hardest part of our day usually is like the 7 hours before we get on stage.
Oh man,
because it's like, I want to get on stage.
That lead up to. Yeah, absolutely.
I heard this was one of my favorites. So do you listen to Comedians in Cars, or do you see Comedians in Cars getting coffee?
I have
with
not.
Seinfeld?
I've seen it like a couple of episodes.
Yeah. So I watched the shit out of this. It's great, and I don't know how regular people like it or whatever, but it's a lot of in crowd because the comedians are talking about being funny and how they handle life and whatnot, which is interesting to me. But one of the greatest ones was and of course I'm gonna blank on his name now that I'm halfway into the sentence.
Of course you are. But we
Trevor
Noah.
Noah. Yeah, okay. Trevor Noah is getting interviewed by Jerry Seinfeld right after he got the job. Okay. He the show hadn't even started yet, and so Jerry asked him, what is your normal day like? Uh-huh. And Trevor goes, well, I wake up at 6 p.m. And then I have a show. I have an hour show, and I get up at 6 p.m., take a shower, go to the show. He's on stage by 7 p.m. Does an hour on stage, gets off stage at 8, goes down to the Comedy Cellar, hangs out with comics, gets up a couple more times, hangs out with comedians, doing spots around the city, hangs out with comedians till like 2, 3 in the morning. Then he's on his way home, goes to the grocery store, gets home, goes to bed around 11 a.m. That was his schedule.
That's his schedule.
To wake up and then 1 hour later be on stage, I was like, this fucking guy figured it out.
Yeah, that's great.
To do that. Now, I don't ever want to miss that much sunlight. I can't handle that. I don't know how it would handle me, how I'd handle that mentally, but the fact that he wakes up, gets immediately on stage, I was like, God damn it, I wish I had that life.
Yeah, if I had it like that, I would like to at least try it.
Right?
I don't know if I could put it in my routine, but.
Yeah, because all I do now is wait around. I wait around to get on stage. It's the best part of the day, and it's the end.
Yeah.
And then when you get off stage, you got all this energy, you feel great.
Absolutely.
And you got to find some constructive place to put it. And for us, a lot of times there's nothing open. You can't even go to a restaurant, you can't go to you can't go anywhere. Shit is just done.
Yeah, I come back to the hotel, turn on the TV,
right, and just have that sad moment in the hotel by yourself because you're like, what the hell, man? I'm supposed to be having, Right. I always want to bring the goddamn crowd into my room. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, and just keep hanging out and keep partying.
Steve Martin used to do that. He used to have an after party. He would sell out Madison Square Garden, and then he would like buy out some other banquet room, and he'd be like, you guys come if you want. I got this after party, whatever. And he would buy pizza and drinks, all this shit,
awesome.
just so he can hang out with the people after the show because of that
that's
feeling.
What I was getting at. That it's about the people, you know, the money. I would never forget a comedian, Mike Epps. I don't know if it's his quote, but he said, "Man, if you good, the money will come."
Yeah,
and I agree with that.
Yeah.
And so I just focus my attention on just trying to get better as a comedian because I never want to get an opportunity and not be ready or prepared. That scares me,
Yeah, now that I'm finally in a position where I'm, as a comedian, it's always building. You're building. You're getting better every day. And you got to get to a point at some point where you feel confident and comfortable. Now I'm at the situation where I'll go to another city. If I have an off day, I'll go on at an open mic, not expecting anything, whatever. And I'll know that I had a good set when I got local guys coming up to me like, yo, I got this show on Wednesday. Do you want to come out and do this show?
Yeah, awesome.
And that speaks to the same thing. When you're doing well on stage, people approach you, and there's always somebody in the crowd that has another show. Right. There's always people in the room that wants you to go and do something with them. Or for you, you're only in town for the 3 days when you travel and you're doing funny. They buy your T-shirt and they take you home with them.
And they want to, It's not me begging or asking. It's like, yeah. So definitely, man, it's just the memories of the people that you meet throughout. I still have people that every now and then shout out to me on Facebook or. As a matter of fact, just this past week, and I got an email. And I don't even know how the lady got my email.
Right.
But she went on my website, and she sees that I'm going to be on the Regent Cruise Line. And she said she wants to take her husband on his 40th birthday on that cruise line just so they can see me.
Just because you're on there.
Absolutely fantastic.
That's amazing.
Man. And that's
there's a jacuzzi, there's a spiral slide, there's all this stuff, but he's coming for you. That's amazing.
So it's like, that just made my day because that's something that I could take with me. You know what I mean? And
those emails. I cherish those little emails. I'll get an email say we had such a great time.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. We predict success for you in this business. It just feels good.
If they only knew when the curtains drop now.
right. That we're on an uncovered table in a Hampton Inn in Albany. So. But man, this is so you were doing stand up before you were doing the improv thing. What drew you to this thing?
To the stand-up?
To stand-up. What drew you to comedy in the first place?
Man, it was crazy. I was involved in a real bad car accident, and I was laid up for a while. And with me being laid up, I still read the newspaper just to kind of, keep up with the current events.
So what were you doing what were you doing for work?
I was a clothing manager. I was a manager at a clothing store.
No shit.
Yeah. And got in this accident, so I got laid up. Couldn't do nothing for like 3 to 6 months,
No shit.
And so I was reading in the paper that they were having auditions at the local comedy club in Cleveland. And I always thought I was funny, basically watching other comedians like, oh, I could do that.
Yeah.
Typical.
It's weird. It's funny because something about, society tells you when you're funny, society lets you know. Because it's like, you don't know in your heart that you're funny. It's because you're in a room of people and and there's this reaction happening. And there's just something chemical about every. And I love watching people that just get like the littlest laughs in like their little groups. The love for that, just when you get that laugh, it feels so good.
It was great.
Even as a civilian, as a guy walking down the street, doesn't matter. When somebody laughs at the thing that you said,
it's great, man. It's medication, man.
Yeah.
Because they love it too.
Yeah.
So
you were always a funny dude. You knew it.
I won't say that I was always funny, but I thought I was.
Yeah.
And so with me reading that, I went down to the local club and did audition, which was weird because there's only 3 people watching us.
Okay,
so it wasn't like a pan, just these
and you had never done stand up.
Never done it before in my life. And
so
I
you
went
don't even
down,
know. It's not even tested material. You don't know. Nothing.
I didn't even know the structure. I didn't know nothing about timing, delivery, anything.
Balls on this guy.
And I went down there and did it, and they didn't say nothing.
Right.
They just said, "All right, thanks for coming out, guys."
Didn't laugh.
Now
nothing,
the
just staring at you.
competitiveness got in me. It was like, "Oh, I'm coming back next week."
Okay.
And so I went and wrote up what I thought was an act.
Yeah.
And the second time, they said, we want to offer you to come down and showcase. And when that was said, that's when I got books. I started reading.
No shit.
Started studying.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was through trial and error,
Yeah.
but that sparked me to really want to do it. The same 3-judge panel,
Yeah.
second time out, offer me a guest spot.
That's crazy.
So
That's great. You're an academic on all the things. You want to learn about a thing, you'll get the books, you do the thing, you do the work.
Study it, man.
That's
because
great.
I think the more you know, I always compare comedy to sports, and my favorite is basketball.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, Michael Jordan, arguably the greatest basketball player to ever play the game.
Yeah.
You would think, this dude don't have to practice. This
Right.
dude don't have to study film.
Right.
He's the greatest.
Right.
But they say he did it harder
Mm-hmm.
in practice
Mm-hmm.
than he did in the game.
Yeah.
So what in the world makes me think
Right.
that I don't have to sit down
Right.
and study?
Gotta shoot the fucking free throws, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't remember. I can't remember who this story is about, and it's a travesty when I have one of these stories in my head, and I can't remember who the person. I think it's Kobe, but it's one of these stories where they lose a game, everybody goes home. He goes to the gym. He gets somebody to let him in the gym, and he shoots 300, 400 shots.
say
He's there a
Kobe.
couple
That sounds
hours.
like-
Yeah. Just like as a penance to himself
Yep.
for losing the game. And he was just that kind of guy, and it's that kind of hard work and that devotion. And it's interesting because you see that in this business. You'll see a guy, and I think as comedians we're quick to judge other comics, and we go, "Oh, that guy."
Oh, absolutely.
We see their level, and we go, "That's it."
Yeah.
But then sometimes you'll come back 6 months later, and you don't even recognize the guy, and you're like, "He's been putting in work, man. This
Yeah,
guy
absolutely, man.
has been putting in work."
And that's inspiring. I wish that a lot of comics would take that as inspiration versus sometimes the negative side
It's tough,
of it,
man.
You know?
And we were talking about this last night in the green room. Every little environment in comedy kind of starts to encourage you to think a certain way. So when I'm in New York and there's a bunch of groups, and I don't necessarily fit in with a lot of the groups.
Right.
I'm not in those groups. So what happens is the groups start, becoming this kind of thing, and then you start to get discouraged because you're not in that group and you want
Right.
to figure out that thing, right? Or you go and you do the comedy club circuit, and then what happens is they bring 3 guys. We didn't know each other. Bring 3 guys in that don't know each other, and then we end up in the situation where we feel like, a lot of times comedians will feel competitive. They feel like they want to be better than the guy before him or after, and that's never been what comedy's been about.
But I beg to differ with that.
Okay.
I think that is what it's about. Long as it's a healthy
Sure.
inner competitiveness within yourself.
Yeah.
When you spew it out negatively, I don't think that that's
Yeah.
the way to go. But I am competing
Yeah.
with you guys
I'm-
because I want to be as good as you, if not better.
Right.
I want to be as good as Rick Voss, if not better.
I'm with
but
that.
not in a negative aspect.
Yeah.
It's just when they come out of there, we liked you too.
Yeah, right.
If
right.
I can get that, I'm fine. Not I liked you better.
Right.
Because I hate that.
Yeah, yeah,
And I always
yeah.
tell comics, I see some of the younger comics, I say, when somebody come with you and say, you should have been the headliner, don't feed into that.
You're right.
Just say, hey, comedy's subjective.
Yeah.
You like me a little better than him, but he's funny too.
Yeah.
And I think that there's stages of this business that you go through. Because I was that guy at one point.
Yeah.
So I can't act like I was just holier than thou.
Right.
But you go through those phases. But the thing that I could appreciate is that I was able to evolve from those stages to
Right.
be comfortable with who I am now.
Sure. Yeah.
But I am competitive.
Yeah,
I'm trying to go out there and be the best
Yeah.
that I can be. Though.
I guess I have that. Here's what happens to me when I see a guy, and he sets up a premise that's like perfect. I go, damn it! Why didn't I think of that? Damn it! And you're
that's-
proud of him for having that joke. And
But
you
that
go,
makes you
and,
go
yeah,
back
and then
and
you
work
go
on
back
it.
and
I
you go,
need to
fuck,
go
you
figure
yeah,
out.
what thing
And
should
what that is to me, that's you studying.
yeah,
Not stealing,
yeah,
studying.
yeah.
Like, man, I was slick. I gotta come.
I
back.
need to be on that level with
Yeah.
that.
So that's
with
why
the
I say
concept,
with the
yeah.
competitiveness, I just think that that's just natural, especially if you want to be what you consider the best
Yeah.
for yourself.
Right.
Yeah, I'm competing.
Yeah.
I watch Pryor, I watch Carlin, I watch the Blue Collar Comic.
Yeah.
I watch all of these guys because there's something about them to have
They made
elevated
it. Yeah,
to
they've
where
done
they
it. Right.
are.
Right.
There's something.
Right.
Even comics that I may not like their style that much.
Yeah.
But no, how did they get this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And there is a genius to all these people that have gotten to the top and figured out what their brand
Even
is.
the ones
and
that
sort
you
of
probably don't like as much now.
Right.
Andrew Dice Clay. But at one time,
thing. Right. Well, dude,
Dane Cook at one time.
What's hilarious about Andrew Dice Clay, because he's got that new show. I mean, the guy's a legend, so he's got that new show. So I was in L.A., I was at the Comedy Store, and you can feel it when something's going on, right? When you're in that kind of environment, especially because, like, that environment is the same kind of thing where it's comics hanging out in the back, and it's all about that. That's where they go to hang out. And there was just kind of like this rumble in the building, and I was like, what's going on? And then I go, they got 4 showrooms, right? So I'm popping around the showrooms trying to figure out what the deal is, and then I go in, and Andrew Dice Clay walked in, and they just gave him the stage. So he did like 40 minutes just as a pop-in, and just the vibe of him being in the room, man. People were freaking out. There's something great about that. There's something great about that getting to that level where comedians are almost on this sort of rock star level, because I think we've had that heyday in the past, and I think we lost it for a little bit. And so to know that exists, to know that, like, when Dave Chappelle or Kevin Hart go to the Comedy Cellar in New York, that you're gonna hear about it. There's something fantastic about that, man.
Isn't that great?
It's
Especially because that's our profession, man.
Yeah.
We love it.
And people look at these people as, and the weird thing is the level of success that comedians get to compared to other things, movie stars, professional athletes, whatever. From a monetary standpoint, maybe we're not on the level. Some guys have gotten there, but it's few and far in between. But to know that these guys get looked at like heroes, like Aristotle, from strangers walking in, and that sells tickets. There's just something great about that.
I think it's awesome, man.
We're philosophers.
And even with them getting to that level, I've gotten to the point of what is it that I want out of comedy?
Yeah.
Because it ain't even the fame for me anymore or the money. Now, don't get me wrong. I always clarify. I do want to get paid for my service.
Right.
You know what I mean? But, my dream is just to do the comedy shows that I want to do.
Yeah.
Whether it's maybe 1 week on a cruise ship, 1 week in a theater.
Yeah.
1 week at a comedy club, 1 week at a UAW, 1 week at a VFW.
Right.
I just want to, I just want to work, man.
I'm finding to the point where my grind, my hard work has put me in a position where, like, somebody will call me back. My buddy called me last year. He's like, hey man, I'm getting married, Portland. I want you to be there. I said, great, I'll be there. First thing I did was start booking gigs around the wedding. So I was like, I'm going out to Portland. I'm going to be out there. I'm not just going to go out there. I'm going to go out there and do what I love.
Absolutely.
And so I hit 5 shows, went to the wedding, and then did 2 more and then went home.
Look at that hustle.
So there's just something about being like, it's like I've never been to Oklahoma City. Let's go to Oklahoma City. So 2 years ago, I put Oklahoma City on the tour, found a venue, rocked a show. I've been there now 3 other times just because of comedy.
That's awesome.
There's just something good.
And that's positive for me, because listening to you do that, because I should do more of that, but I don't. You know what I mean? Because I get so sometimes discouraged because we don't know who this dude is.
Right.
And you get so tired of like,
well,
I can do this.
Every day you get older, like life gets a little scarier.
Yeah.
So coming outside of your box is a scarier and scarier thing.
Yeah.
So I'm even in the position now in my life where I have tried, true, and tested things, like, let's say, the Hoboken Comedy Festival, but every year it gets a little scarier to put on because, I don't know, there's like changes in the town and there's different venues and things like that. So the things that I've been taking for granted for the last, it's been a festival going for 8 years. I've been taking for granted for 8 years. Of course I'm going to do it. Then I get to a mark and like I get a little scared because like this year it just doesn't work.
Right.
But you got to put that away and you got to just go, man.
You just got to go for it.
Yeah,
man.
It's like, what's the worst thing? Like a lot of times, the worst thing that can happen when I go to a city I've never been to is I donate 20 tickets to veterans and, 3 paid people showed up. But even the worst thing that can happen is like 8 people show up.
Absolutely.
Or nobody shows up, and then you just do it for, it's like, what did you really lose?
Right.
You didn't lose anything, Because
you're still doing what you love to do.
Still doing what you love to do,
Absolutely.
and the probability that nobody shows up if you did your hard work is pretty low. A couple people will be there.
Somebody coming, right.
Somebody will be there, and then if you can do a show for 3 people and make them laugh, there's just something raw about that only this thing has.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why, it's funny you say that, because I always tell comedy, man, it don't matter if it's 200 or 2. Just go out there and perform.
You got to give it to them. You got to give them exactly the same energy. I can't remember who did that. I can't remember the first person I saw do that. But they came to do some shitty bar show, right? Mm-hmm. And they were a guy who was doing it, a guy who I aspired to. We're talking, I'm first in New York. It's 10 years ago. And he walks on stage and he gives them the A shit. It was 3 people in the room. He gave them the A shit, and they fucking loved it. And I was like, I mean, it blew my mind to just see that and just know. Because it's discouraging to look at the room and see 50 empty chairs.
Absolutely. But I never forget, there's a comedian, He used to be on Sanford and Son. He was who's the Karate Kid? Who was the master?
Miyagi. Yeah.
Mr. Miyagi.
Pat Morita.
Pat Morita.
Yeah.
He used to stand up comedy.
I've never seen him do stand up. That's
Never
amazing.
have I. But him and Red Fox was really good friends.
Okay, no shit.
And he was telling a story about going out one time, and it was not many people. I can't remember exactly how many, but it wasn't many people at all.
Yeah.
And he came out, and he said that he just was talking to him.
Yeah.
You know, just real.
Now, he's famous yet, or he's just random dude nobody knows him?
Well, he's just a comic.
Yeah.
I don't know to what extent, because I know he was on Sanford and Son, but I didn't know where his career was at that time. But I didn't even know he was a stand-up until, because he was really pretty much talking about Red Fox and how gracious he was to him. And he said he came out and wasn't many people in the showroom, and he was just kind of talking to him. He was doing his act, but he was just talking to him. And Fred said, the next time you go out, I want you to be loud. I want you to be vocal. I want to. He didn't understand because he said, because you shortchanged them. You know what I mean? When you're talking as if everybody's in the room, then they feel that comfort. You know what I mean? Because they're saying, you basically, what I'm getting out of is that they don't care. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's here to perform.
Yeah.
And I always took that into consideration when if it's a small crowd, I'm still the same energy, higher energy, vocal. Yeah. Not extremely loud.
I love that second. So a lot of times we'll do that second show, and sometimes you can't do the second show. When you're in a city you don't know, you get a promoter, you're only in town for one night. You do the second show just in case, right? First show will go good. Second show is a little straggler show sometimes. You know, you get the 10 o'clock show on a random place that doesn't have a ton of comedy. So it's that second show, but I love that second show because you got less people and you can lean into them, and because the expectation is so much lower. That when you give them that real show, there's just something spectacular about it. And then a lot of times those are the shows that I'll go a little further with the joke. You know, like you hit that second or third rep that you know that your muscles are tired, but just that second third, you keep the idea going. You know, and you'll get like 5 more punchlines out of a joke that you thought was done because you got this crowd that loves you and wants to take the ride with you.
See, I go the opposite.
Yeah,
because everybody said that first show is the hardest.
Yeah,
and that's the one I attack.
Yeah,
because they always say Friday night first show is like horrible.
Yeah.
That's the one I attack because from a mental standpoint, it's like, no, I'm going to get them.
Yeah.
I'm going to get, whether I do or I don't, but that mental is like, you know, and it's just challenging.
I'm with you.
You just challenge yourself, man.
Yeah.
So I always go at that Friday night first show because everybody says the worst show of the week. I hear
something
a lot of comments
about something about that that Friday. But I always heard Friday late was the worst because they've been all day like they're ready to fall asleep.
So maybe I got to mix up. I always say I thought it was
you know that when you got a packed house, you give them everything. You give them all the tried and tested stuff. You give them the Muhammad Ali. You give them everything. You give them every move, every juke, every fake, every punch, everything in the playbook. You give it all. But yeah, because then again, when you get that smaller crowd, you think. Well, you know, it's tough. It's tough to go from big crowd to small crowd in your head.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because you want to go out on the big one, right? I'll be in other cities, and I'm always with these guys who always want to do open mics. It's like, you know, we'll do 2 hot shows, and then they're like, let's go do the open mic, and it's like, I know what that open mic's gonna be like.
Right.
And they're like, no, fuck you, dude. Let's go do the open mic, and you go to the open mic and you give it hard, and it's, you know, sometimes. If you get in the wrong mental space, you can go to the open mic and fuck your head up, and you're like, oh, I had a great night, and then now this last one ruins it. You know, it's like the last bite, and it's got you got a big pit in your food. But yeah, man, I think you got to attack everyone. And then the guys that I see attack open mics the same way we're talking about too, especially when they're strangers. Same reaction, man. Even comics, regular people. If you hit that show like there's 150 people there. They give you that love back,
it becomes that appreciation, like, you know, this dude took the time to come here
guy's
from
working.
wherever he's at. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
I love talking shop, man. It's my favorite. It's tough because it's like comics say it's a lot. It's like there's nothing like talking to other comics because it's like I can't talk to my parents, my friends that aren't in comedy about this. They're not gonna they don't
understand.
They don't get where we're coming from. You
Absolutely.
know? I'm at that weird level with my father now, where I'm a grown man and he's still trying to figure out how to be a father, and I'm just like, just be my friend, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
We're not in the same business. You know, we don't. I appreciate you trying to give me advice, but we don't have anything on the same level that you need. That I need to hear from you. Like, he wants to give me advice about crowds and things like that, and it's just like,
oh, now he
yeah, just be my boy. You know what I mean? Just be my friend. You know, we're at
absolutely.
We're both men now. Let's just be that.
I appreciate you coming and support.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Yeah.
Let me do this.
Yeah, I think he's finally trying. I think he's finally getting to that level where I think that's the hardest part is trying to figure out how to make our parents be our friends.
Absolutely.
And for them to figure out how to stop being parents, you know, and because it's like. Because I feel like that's the next level. I don't know. That's the final level, the final boss. You know, in a video game is when you get to that place where you raised your child right.
Right.
And now they're a grown, capable adult who can take care of themselves.
You gotta let them fly.
And then now you can just be friends.
Yeah.
It's like right. That's I think you said it exactly perfect. You let them fly. You throw them in the air, and you let them fly. And now you're just birds together.
Yep.
You ain't gotta spit into my mouth anymore. Just let me be a bird, man.
Right on.
You're gonna block me from chipmunks coming and eating my face anymore. It's done. Let me fly.
No doubt.
Are you there? Where are you with your folks? Your folks?
Cleveland. Yeah, everybody still. I don't know my dad.
No.
So I put that in my jokes.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, but mom's in Cleveland.
Yeah.
So.
And where are you with her? Are you guys best friends? Or you?
Nah, we cool. You know, my aunt. I have an aunt that really pretty much raised me.
Yeah.
And she took me on in a tough time in my life
Sure.
when I was rebellious, thought I knew it all.
Yeah.
So she kind of, took a hold of me. But she's very supportive of the comedy, very encouraging. And, because growing up, in school, like I said, after high school, that was it for me. I couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And, everybody's like, you going to do this comedy? It's funny how you ever have friends like, man, you've been doing this for a while. You still going to? I can get you a job at Ford. Or I can get you. You're like, dude, I don't care how much money they pay you. I'm not leaving this career, man. I'm fighting to the end.
I had a girlfriend who and I was starting to make it on the level of success that I want to be at. I'm supporting myself with comedy, the whole thing, and she was doing like recruiting or something, like headhunting, and then she told me about this job at like Chase Bank around the corner, and I was like, oh, that's cool, whatever. I was like, I'll see if I know anybody who'd be right for it.
Right.
And she was like, no, I was thinking like that you would look at it, and I was like, hey, I don't want to be disrespectful, but don't ever say that to me again. Like that's not at all where I'm trying to.
It's not an option.
Because I got because I've been in that situation where I was trying to do the 9 to 5 and do the comedy and do the whole thing. When I first got to New York, man, I was hustling. I was working at a coffee shop at like 5 a.m. Then I go off to a 9 to 5 job, and then I would do comedy in the middle of that, and then after that I go promote clubs. Right. So I didn't even program in sleeping. I was like sleeping at 3 o'clock in the office when my boss would go do her errands.
Right.
I'd pass out in my chair. All that just to make comedy work. So and I tried every version of every job to have that and do comedy, because comedy was always the priority. And it doesn't matter, even in your head, if you think you can work the 9 to 5 or the 10 to 6 or whatever and still get out and do comedy, man, the emotional toll that's getting taken away of doing something that you don't love every day is enough to just drain the enjoyment out of your body.
Absolutely. But and it's funny for me, I work at Dick's Sporting Goods, and I've been there for almost 14 years.
Yeah.
And I actually like it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird to say, but it actually brings me down from the high that I get from being on the road. Yeah. Because when I go to work, hey, Quinn. Yeah. Morning, Quinn. Yeah. Like, I ain't shit to them.
Right. You're not, that's the guy.
Yeah. And I love it. I love it.
But you still get to interact with people.
Absolutely.
On a level.
Yeah.
And I think, that kind of interaction. And that's the other thing that I find hard once you get so removed. When I'm out and I'm on the road and I'm so removed that, again, all I have that day is the show. Mm-hmm. It's like, I'll be at a coffee shop, nobody knows I'm a comedian, whatever. But it's just like, even interacting with people becomes like a weird thing because it becomes kind of like a chore. So I see where comedians end up in these little, like, a lot of times you'll meet a comic and like they get off stage and they're like all curled up and they're reserved and they don't know how to talk to people. Absolutely. And it's like, I wonder how they write on a daily basis, because all of my writing comes from just something that happened in that day. Like, I get to understand the world when I see two people interact, or I interact with a person. I understand relationships, the world, Earth, humans better.
Absolutely.
So I think working in a place where you actually have to interact with people, watch people try to get away. Like you said, you're a manager, right?
Yeah. So no, I'm not a manager. No, Dick Sporting Goods. I didn't say I was a manager. Nah.
But you watch,
I'm just an associate.
But you watch people try to climb that ladder, try to stab employees in the back. So you learn so much about life in the world.
Absolutely.
Just from being in that thing, and that's a. I mean, I don't want to take it away from you, but that's a low stress environment.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Except when people trying to steal. Then it can become intense. But yeah, it is. But It's funny, going back to what you were saying about comics in that bubble.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like that too.
Yeah.
But I play it off well because of the fact that it is for the people.
Right.
And I like to interact with them to a degree, but it's funny when I go to some cities, it's like, hey, where you want to go, Quinn? You want to go out and party?
Yeah, they want to hang out.
Man, I want to go to a dive.
Yeah.
I want to go to a dive bar to where nobody knows me and nobody gives a shit who I am.
Right.
You got that bartender that say, hey, what do you need? Can I get you something?
Right.
I love that, man. Because after hearing people say, oh, you were great, or shaking hands, or selling T-shirts and this and that, don't get me wrong, I totally appreciate that, and I'm on a rush from that.
Yep.
But then you just kind of want to unwind.
You got to unwind.
Let's go to a little hole in the wall.
You can't stay at that level. And this is kind of the same idea with why I try my damnedest not to date or mess around with people from their audience, because I don't think it's a fair. I don't think it's a fair level. Like I'm the dude who's, at the coffee shop during the day. I'm getting almond milk in my coffee, staying at Panera so I can get a second refill. You know what I mean? Like it's like that's the guy that I want the person to like, not the dude who just got off stage.
Right.
Like, of course you're gonna like me when I got off stage.
Yeah,
I'm
because
good at this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And I put time and effort in this. You're only seeing a tiny part of my life.
Right.
I need you. It's like I need you to have an affection for the rest of me, which I don't bring on that stage. So there's just something about that. But this is what I did learn, and because I used to not, I don't drink. I don't really party that much. So people, I get off stage, be like, "Let me buy you a drink, whatever." I'd be like, "No," but I realized over the last couple of years, as I watch people interact with certain comedians and whatnot, is buying that drink, that's not for me. That's for them.
Absolutely.
They need that minute.
They need that.
Because something that you did on stage, they connected with.
Yes.
And they're grabbing a hold of you, right? And they just need to hold on to you for a second. Because part of your life, and that's what I think that's what drew me to comedy, is being a kid, hearing somebody say something on that HBO special, and you looking around the room being like, how the fuck did he know that that's in my brain?
Right.
And I think that comedians have an ability to do that. So when you can connect with somebody like that, taking that minute, and it is, you don't gotta follow them home. You don't want to go 3 bars with these people.
No.
But when they buy you that drink, and you give them that, as long as it takes for you to drink that drink, just to tell their story,
interact with you,
nothing like that. Nothing like that.
That's it. Yeah, and that's the way I look at it. And sometimes if I'm already buzzed up, I just tell them I'll ask for like a bourbon, like just put some colored water in.
Right.
But let them buy it, I mean, for the and I also look out for the wait staff too, because they tip well, because they've had such a great time. Yeah, I'm gonna get this for them. This is for you. Yeah. So everybody's happy, you know what I mean? So I totally get it.
Yeah. Fuck, man.
Favorite club? What's your favorite club? If you
it's
were
tough.
To pick one.
This is what people always ask me, man. They always ask me, "What's your favorite place to perform? What's your favorite club? What's your favorite everything?"
Give me a top 3.
It's tough, man. And I don't know if this is like the dude thing in me, but like anywhere that I haven't been to yet is kind of like what I strive for, right?
Okay.
Like it's like I just want to be on that stage that they haven't let me on yet.
Gotcha.
So if I see somebody in a position where they've gotten up at a place. Comedians always want to do the thing where they go, who books that? What is, how do I get on?
Oh, yeah.
But for me, it really is. There's just something about, like, I want to get up in every possible situation, every room. And I talk about this a lot about, I feel like comedians have this disease. Like, I was at an America's Best Value Inn with 3 comics, and we're having breakfast. Gotcha. And it's a room just like this, but it's got a little step stage. That's where they put the breakfast buffet. And we're looking at this room, and in my head, I'm getting rid of the tables and the things, and I'm looking around the room, and I'm going, yo, we could do a show in here. It's just got like a 1-inch stage, right? But for some reason, that's a stage.
Yeah,
it's not even a stage. It's a step.
Yeah,
and it's like that's a stage.
That's a stage. Absolutely.
We could get on that. So whatever room I haven't done yet, man. There's dream places that I want to do. There's a spot in Hoboken on the pier that I want to do that I've been scoping out for years that I think I can section. Now I don't believe in outdoor shows so much because comedy just goes up into the environment.
Right.
And if a bird lands, nobody's paying attention all of a sudden. But there's one little spot in Hoboken where it's a tight little pier, and there's like kind of like a little overhead section that's like blocked off from the rain. If I put bleachers in there and a stage here, and we block it off. And the only thing that they can do is pay attention to this. I think that'd be the perfect spot to do it.
Sounds
so
cool.
every room that I've never played, man, is the spot I want to play. Yeah,
gotcha.
I want to open in situations that don't make sense. I saw what's this kid's name, man? DC Young Fly open for Chris Brown.
Okay.
And it's a circular room. It's the Forum in L.A. And I was like, how's he gonna do stand up for this kind of crowd, whatever? And he catered his act to that crowd, and he did sort of like this musical cue thing, and he'd make the comment, he'd bring a song out, he'd be like, this one's for the ladies, and he'd do the whole thing. And watching him just work that stage and walk around, he's working a circus, I mean, gigantic stage. He's running from corner to corner, he's dancing, he's taking his shirt off, and it's like every one of those little things that I see where you don't think comedy's gonna work, and it does. That's where I want to play. Yeah. I mean,
absolutely.
But all-time dream would be to get to the position where I'm playing the cellar and where they appreciate me. I can sit at that
cellar.
table, play the cellar. That's
gotcha.
Because I'm a New York guy, so that's the
no doubt.
That's
for
the
sure.
dream. That's the place you want to get to. But I don't know, man. I mean, there's a room in Springfield, Missouri that I love. Blue Room Comedy. I was telling you about it.
Okay,
I recommend you to the guy. Blue Room Comedy Club. I really like that room. Yeah, man. I can't think of any. The thing, because on the reverse, like you always try to think of what the reverse is. I can't think of any room that I'm like, you know what? Nobody should do comedy there. I don't have that.
Okay.
Coming up with the top 3 places to perform is I draw a blank because I'm just like everywhere, man. I'll fucking do a show on this table. I don't give a fuck.
No doubt. I'm the same way. I mean, I do have my given the shows that I've done. You have memorable shows in different venues.
Yeah.
Like I'm a big Stardome fan. Alabama.
Yeah.
I love that place.
No shit.
And what I like about it the most is that it humbled me.
Yeah.
Because when I first went, as big as it was or is, they had the big monitors. They have monitors. So people far back can see.
Okay.
And when I first got there, the owner, Bruce Ayers, was like, all right, I'm going to tell you. It's going to feel like you're not getting any laughs, but you are. So just go through with your act and don't be intimidated. And I'm this cocky little young punk like, man,
I got you. Yeah.
And when I went out there,
The
everything that he said was going to happen happened. I panicked.
So funny, yeah.
And they gave me a light, so I
They gave you an early light?
They didn't even give me a light. It was people walking around with the pins, the servers, so they could see their tickets.
Yeah. You were like looking for that light.
I couldn't wait to get out of there.
That's so funny.
But it humbled me.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the week, I got it.
Yeah.
But then my second time there, because Bruce was gracious enough to have me back.
Yeah.
And I've been back ever since. And the guy who actually took me with him, I didn't have to go on his coattail anymore.
Right.
Bruce started giving me
fantastic,
my own. So that's like, so it's memorable things about certain clubs. Not so much the club, but just the memorable things that I could take away from. And I just knew I got this, man. I'm good.
My favorite is when, so I get there early a lot. Like even for these shows, I'm getting here like an hour and a half early, and the staff's looking like, "What are you doing, man?" Like I just like to be there early. And so sometimes I'll get there too early, and I'm looking at the room like, "There's no fucking way they're gonna fill this." Mm-hmm. And then it's like, and then all of a sudden it's like 20 minutes before showtime, there's nobody there, and you're like, "There's no way." And then all of a sudden it's 5 minutes before showtime, the fucking rooms. You come back in, the room's packed, and you're like, "I don't even know what happened." and then you get to be in that situation. It's just something great about. And it's tough because as comedians, we're very cynical people. We like to prejudge everything. So
absolutely.
Like this show is not gonna be shit, and then when you get that surprise at the end, and it's fucking fantastic,
Or you like, I hear a lot of comics like, it's the free ticket people. They don't care. But what gives them any less value to somebody that paid? Man? Just go out there and give it to them. I try not to. Because, you hear people say, no, that's an A room, that's a B room, that's a C room. I think all clubs is A room.
Yeah,
if it's got people in it, it's A to me.
I agree with that. We try to mitigate everything, right? We try to worry about this and that, and that's like protecting ourselves, right? Like that's the whole feeling is that like if it doesn't go well, we gotta have reasons. We gotta know why.
Well, which brings me to this, not to make it controversial. But what is an urban room?
What is an urban room? Yeah, man, I think that term is getting thrown around a lot. I don't know how to feel about that. There is something though. I mean, we all know there's something about and this is what I've learned over the years. Just growing up not white. At any level is an urban room. Because everybody, like, I meet Indian people, and they're like, no, you need to be on Indian time. We're going to get here late. You meet Arab people, no, you need to be on Arab time. We're going to get here late. Black people, we're going to be here in black time. And white people are the only people that show up on time and then are uptight about everything. Every other race, every other non-white race reacts the way a human being should react when they hear something funny. They're fucking kicking over chairs.
Right.
They're high-fiving each other. They're boisterous. They're loud. Something about this weird, like overt white thing that they feel like they're not supposed to react to anything. Get there on time, stare ahead, whatever. So I think more than anything else, an urban room isn't even about that anymore. It's just a weird thing, and I haven't. It's funny because you guys were talking about it in the group.
And
I haven't heard anybody call it like an urban. I haven't been in the situation where people call it an urban or a black room in a while.
I've had situations where I hear it, and then I call people on it, and then they can't explain it, then it gets uncomfortable, then I just leave it alone.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to make a big ordeal about it, but I would just like to know the definition of what you classify as an urban room.
Yeah.
Because I do a lot of shows where it's all white, and I never like, it's a Caucasian room, you know.
Right.
I never.
It's just that interesting. There's nobody ever calls it a white room. They go, you do an urban room.
It's a show.
You can do the urban circuit.
Yeah.
Now, but we do know that there is something different. If we're calling it the urban circuit, and that's something that people are calling that circuit. And what we do know about that is they pay. They're guaranteed to pay. You work. You do a regular club room, a white room. If we're going to call it a weight room, sometimes you're going to get gypped on your money. You're not going to get paid. You get paid less, whatever. Something about any chunk of ethnicity, anybody who's in that kind of circuit, I don't know, man. They just know how to take care of people. I don't know what it is.
See, now, I've heard mixed opinions because I've heard people that do the urban rooms where it's like, man, I got to look for the dude after the show. He be running around. I got to try to find him.
Right.
And then I look at the, I guess, more organized clubs, which would be the improvs, funny bones. I never have no issues with getting paid or any. So I guess it depends on the venue you're at and who you're dealing with.
Yeah.
But
now I haven't been plugged into what people are calling the urban circuit that much. But what I do know is I remember getting warnings. The first show I ever did in Brooklyn was a place called the Chocolate Monkey, and there's this guy. Ray DeJean, and he called his room an urban room, and I remember him pulling me aside before, because I'm Italian, so I've never nobody's ever looked at me and been like, oh, it's a white dude. Like they're always been like, oh, is he Latin? Is he whatever? Like what's his deal? So I've been able to not get plugged into any stereotypes because nobody knows who the fuck I am.
Right.
They're like, I'm not sure. He could cut me. We don't really know. We don't know which one he is. He looks like he belongs here.
Right.
But I just remember him, like, I don't know, giving me like a spiel ahead of time about the thing, and I was like, and I don't know what it was, but I didn't really give it much peace of mind. I was just, because in my head I'm just like, people's people, funny is funny, and that's the end of the deal. The only thing that happens different in that environment was I came up in sandals, and after I got off stage, they just clowned the shit out of me.
Absolutely.
They just made fun of me because of what I was wearing on my feet, which doesn't necessarily happen. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I don't know what the other end is. Is there a thing called the white room?
I've never ever heard it, and that's what makes me wonder what the urban room is. And it's funny because I just feel like some rooms you just don't go into. I don't label it, but there might be a room that I'm like, nah, that's not for me.
Right.
But it's not that I can't enjoy the comics that are capable of doing those rooms.
Right.
Because I love comedy.
Yeah.
But I just feel like you got to figure out what rooms do you feel you're comfortable doing.
Yeah.
Because all money ain't good money. Because you can go in there and get that money and come out of there empty as hell because you don't have a shit show.
Right.
So and it's funny too because I'll have some I was in Kentucky, and this white guy came up to me, and he was just so proud. He was like, yeah, man, I did the urban room, man. They love me, man. I was it. And then I was just like, well, what's the urban room, and why are you so excited about them loving you so much? Were you funny? Yeah, then that's what it should be about.
Yeah, but white people love to have a black friend. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it is. I don't know why people get so excited about it. I don't know why. And
we're good people. That's
and why. But I watch white people go up to the black comic, whoever, after the show, and they treat him like the black comic, and they're just so happy when they get that little interaction because they live in their little suburb box or whatever, and it's just like it's a weird thing. So sometimes I grew up out here, so sometimes you don't get to interact with people of other races. I didn't know anybody Jewish until I went to college. I didn't know, there was I think 6 black kids in my entire high school.
That's
so
funny when you can name it too. Like 6 of them.
The Grants.
I've seen them
the
all.
Grants, Andrew. No, and it's like, and there was no Arab people in my high school. There was no whatever. So it's like, there's just something about being so closed off, and I think there's a guilt now to it. So I think people are like on this sort of like high alert.
What is the guilt?
There's a high alert because they don't know, because they don't feel like they had maybe like a true or a rich experience, and they don't really know how to interact around other people. It's like, and then once you stop thinking about people is when we all run into trouble.
Yeah,
it's all people, man.
Well, it's so hard with the media nowadays, though, because the portrayal of one versus the other, and we ain't got to go all deep into that. But I just feel like there's a negative portrayal of different groups.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the racial
once you get that,
yeah,
then it gets ingrained in your mind, and then you are from that suburban area, so all you focusing on is what you see here.
Right.
And then everybody becomes that, and they're not. But I struggle with that, too, because I say, if this is where you from, and this is all you know, and this is all you watch, I don't know how mad I can be at you.
Right.
You feel me? Because that's all you know.
I get that, but that doesn't mean that when I go down to Alabama that it's going to be cool for somebody to call somebody a racial slur just because that's all they know. Like, I get the ignorance. I get where we're coming from. I get where they're coming from, that maybe they don't know that there's anything better. But at this day and age, if you don't know right from wrong when it comes to other people, you're deliberately, you know what I mean?
You took it up a notch.
No, I'm not saying you're saying that, but you know what I mean? But it's like, but that excuse, I feel like, I'm worried that we extend that, because ignorance is ignorance, and you can't.
But if it's something like, okay, so I come from an all-black community.
Yep.
And now I'm put in a situation with all Caucasians, and I'm not used to it. I'm not.
Just hypothetically, or you're saying?
Yeah, hypothetically. Yeah. I'm going to be who I am.
Yeah.
And in a way, it did happen to me. I moved to a different county from where I was. I didn't know white people, and my elementary, junior high, high school, black. Yeah. That's all I knew.
Yeah.
The only white people I knew was a counselor, maybe, a teacher. Sure. So when I moved to this county, and I seen all this intermingling, I'm like, man, what the, because I didn't know.
Yeah.
But then as I stayed there for a while and I started to learn people, then I started to become cool. But I say that to say
they accepted you, and then you felt.
I don't know how much they accepted me. I think I had to learn.
Yeah.
And then I never forget there was a job that I wanted so bad, and somebody told me they won't hire you because they don't really hire black people. And it became my mission to get a job in that particular store.
Yeah.
And I got the job.
Yeah.
And then I said, I got to be better than them at selling, because it was commission.
Right.
Yeah, I became one of the top sellers, and then color started to vanish. It was like, this dude making me money.
Right.
And then I started becoming cool with him as best I could. Yeah. But when I first got there, it wasn't happening because I thought I was supposed to be tough, and you know what I'm saying?
Well,
so I just say that to say, if you're in an environment for so long and this is all you know, I don't know how much I can fault you. Now, I'm not giving you credence to call me names.
Right.
But if you don't know,
you give him that learning curve. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
So I just get weirded out sometimes, because I feel like that with comedy sometimes.
Yeah.
I'll never forget, I did a club, I ain't gonna call it out, and the guy was driving me to the show, and he was like, I like Jimmy Walker. I kind of like his style.
He's trying to figure out how to relate to you, and he's just using.
Or telling me what not to do without having even seen me perform. But he's telling me these are the comics that I like.
Yeah.
So therefore, if you come with some of this, but not even knowing.
Yeah.
And that's just my perception of it. Maybe that wasn't his intent, but given he was just so high on certain comics.
Right.
And I just felt like I was being prejudged.
Okay.
Not even knowing what I'm, and I feel like that happens a lot.
I think it happens a lot. Here's the only thing as my takeaway on a lot of stuff is, because you see the way people talk to you before stage, after stage. So I don't know if I've just gone like deaf ear to it, but I kind of just don't pay attention to any, like whatever, the promoter, the venue. I don't really pay much attention to what they say because they don't fucking know me. Right, so like whatever they tell me before I get on stage, a lot of times doesn't have anything to do with what happens on stage and after stage. It's like I'll listen a little harder after I get off stage, and then they have something to say to me. But like what you said, like they don't know me. They don't know what I'm gonna be. So like whatever their judgment is ahead of time, or whatever the only thing that works in this room. Well, listen, I'm gonna do me, and if it doesn't work, we can talk about it afterwards. But I'm pretty sure, because I've been doing this, and I'm pretty sure what I'm doing is gonna work.
It's gonna be okay,
yeah,
right?
Because this is what I do,
Right.
and I know that you only live in this town, and you're like, oh, the people in this town, they're closed-minded, they don't want to hear about. That's bullshit.
Just let
People are
me do
people,
right? And
yeah,
I
so,
get that a lot, and
yeah.
and it's always weird too when it's more of the Caucasian room,
Yeah.
you know, and they'll come at me and like, all right, you know, this is what they don't want, and this, just let me do my job.
I'm gonna do
man,
mine
because I want to be able to come back.
Yeah.
I don't want to mess this up.
Right.
So I don't need you to guide me
Right.
because if I mess up, then that's money out my pocket.
Yeah.
You know, it's just weird sometimes in this day and age
Yeah.
too, with the way the world is going, man.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just really a heavy thinker when it
Yeah,
comes to
yeah.
those.
Well, and it now is a really rough and crazy time, and not to ruin the season, but the more episodes of House of Cards that I watch,
Yeah.
the stranger it's becoming that some of the things that are going on are kind of mirrored in the show. And and like you said they held the show, because I don't know when the original release date was, but it feels like they rewrote the show.
Yeah.
Because it's
you gotta
eerily like
stay-
what's going on right now.
Absolutely. And that's why it takes, in my opinion, a while for the episodes to come, because we got to figure out which way we're gonna go.
Yeah. So it's and that's the world that we're in right now, man. This is a crazy position that we've been put in as people
It
to
is.
try to figure out how to maneuver. And I don't know, man. It feels like the most contentious period of time that we've had, where like if you have the wrong opinion, this shit could turn into a fist fight.
Yeah.
Because of who's in
Easy.
charge, and it's
Easy.
It's weird, and people, and actually this is another thing. I think people are more on edge right now.
Absolutely.
Like recently, and even today, dude, I was driving through the Panera Park. I was trying to get out of Panera parking lot, and I was the lady with kids crossing the thing like ducklings, but they were 500 feet in front of me. They were nowhere near me. So I'm slowing down. I'm going like 0 to 5 miles an hour going down. Look, slowing down. I think I might even be stopped. Maybe I'm rolling, but I look down and whatever, and I look up and this woman's like walking slower now and like looking directly at me, like mouthing words. And I roll down my window and I'm like, "Can I help you?" And she just starts bitching and yelling about how I wasn't even looking up. And I was like, I was nowhere near you.
Right.
I wasn't even, like our paths were never gonna cross. And then and I was like trying to figure out like how this is even an argument. And then as being like, I didn't hit you, like I wasn't anywhere near you, I wasn't anywhere near your kids. And as that's happening, her husband runs full speed up to my window, and I was just like, what a weird period of time that we're at. Like how high strung is everybody now?
Everybody on edge, man.
That a little parking lot, intersection can turn into like what could be like all that was going through my head is that I'm not a fighter, but all that was going through my head for a second was like I was like trying to think of like what weapons I had in the car in case this thing went down.
Cause now you on edge.
Right. I'm like I'm thinking about like, oh, this dude kicks my car, now it's on.
Yeah.
And I don't remember a time in my life when it's been this tense.
Very tense, man.
So it's
and everybody's on edge, and it's sad because I'm such a people person, but as of lately, man, I pick and choose.
Yeah.
Because if I don't say nothing to you, I'm totally fine if you don't say nothing to me. And I like people. But the way the world is and the uneasiness of people and their perception of you.
You take one step in the wrong conversation, and then all of a sudden, you're everybody's like yelling, and you're like, what just happened?
Yeah, what happened?
It's crazy, yeah. And it goes to this insane level. All right, well, listen, we're actually the only reason we're stopping is because we're like an hour from showtime. So let's call it. And we've been doing an episode about an hour, so it's
cool.
good. It's a good place to be. So let's figure you out. Let's Quinn Patterson. I know. Are you Quinn P Comedy?
Yeah.
On Twitter.
On Twitter.
Follow this man, funny dude. See him in your city. You said you're in Cleveland a ton. When's the next time we can see you? You said.
I'm in Cleveland, June 14th.
June
I'm
14th.
at Hilarities in Pickwick and Frolic. Then after that, I'm in Dayton, the Dayton Funnybone.
Very cool.
So,
very cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay
check
busy.
this man out. Keep it going. Follow him. What else? Instagram, Facebook. Where do you want these people to follow
Instagram, Quinn Patterson. If you pull up Quinn Patterson, it'll bring up everything.
2 N's.
Yes, 2 N's
two
and
T's.
2 T's. Yes, sir.
Follow this man,
please.
It's been a pleasure talking to you. We have another show here.
We're gonna rock it out.
That we are gonna rock out. It's been a pleasure working with you. Pleasure talking to you. And Comedy Best Kept Secret Tour, you found us. If it was your first time listening, subscribe. We'll keep trying to give you content as we can. We're on iTunes. We're on TuneIn. We're on Stitcher app. You can tell Alexa to pull us up if you got one of those. You can tell Google to pull up the latest episode. Thank you for listening. Please stay tuned with us. Appreciate you.